champion toward the civil rights movement. He would later say that this globally recognized accomplishment, although humbling and tremendously wonderful, had little comparison to an even greater moment that happened that very same year, the ratification of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Martin Luther King was third in a line of ministers in his family. His grandfather was a preacher, and his father, Martin Luther King Sr., was also a minister. Dr. King graduated from high school in Atlanta. Anyone from Atlanta here?
College in Atlanta.
Okay, good. He graduated when he was 15, passing directly through 9th and 12th grades. He studied sociology at Morehouse College, divinity at Crozier Theological Seminary outside of Philadelphia, and completed his dissertation, graduating in systemic theology of Boston College. In 1955, that same year that he began his professional career, he raced fearlessly toward the important social issues of his time through his work and commitment to community, that same work that we're here honoring today. Dr. King became the spokesman and leader of the Montgomery bus boycott. When Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white passenger, her actions ignited an uproar that subsequently began that boycott, the beginning of what we now recognize as the Civil Rights Movement. This boycott lasted 381 days and began a series of events that would tear at the very fabric of our identity as a nation. Dr. King believed, and I quote, "If America is to remain a first-class nation, she can no longer have second-class citizens." The boycott ended with a ruling by the American Supreme Court that segregated buses were indeed unconstitutional. It also proved that peaceful disobedience could yield tremendous results. He studied Gandhi and believed in the power of peaceful disobedience. In fact, in 1959, he traveled to the site where Gandhi lived his later years to become further saturated with this philosophy. Dr. King believed that all men and women were and are created equal under God, and that our societal values, laws, and norms must reflect that equality. These moral precepts manifested into actions that would envelop our nation over the next 9 years. During this time, he and his wife, the late Mrs. Coretta Scott King, had 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. This was not your family, average family, and his was not a normal life. Dr. King, in his pursuit, was stabbed in the chest. He was jailed over 20 times. His house was bombed, and he, along with his family, was the victim of threats and attacks on a daily basis. During the last 10 years of Dr. King's life, it's said that he traveled over 6 million miles within the continental United States and gave over 2,500 speeches. He wrote 5 books and published and contributed countless articles. He had a vision for America. He had a passion for Americans. And perhaps most important for us all, he had a dream for America. And one of the greatest acts an American has ever made, in 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. shared that dream with us. His words led the congressional adoption of the American Civil Rights Act of 1964 on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, with the largest demonstration ever seen in the nation's capital to that point. Dr. King offered this dream. He said, "I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It's a deeply rooted dream, and it's in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation, our nation, will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. Do you have a dream today? I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with a new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from the Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up the day when all God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will all be able to join hands and sing in the words of the almighty old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the conscience of his generation, the very heart and soul of America during his time. He made our nation stronger because he made it better. When they autopsied Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s body, the doctor remarked that although he was 39 years of age when he died, his heart looked like that of a 60-year-old man. He gave everything. We today have an opportunity to do the same. Let us move forward boldly, sharing that dream and zealously allowing freedom to ring in our lives today, in our cities tomorrow, and in our children after we're gone. Thank you.